Hey guys, Ken Boyd with the Accounting Accidentally website, where you'll find over 400 blog posts and 450 links to my YouTube videos here. So I want to talk about something that's heavily advertised called IRS Offer in Compromise, which is an offer to pay far less than a taxpayer owes. And there is a strategy to do this, one of three, called using a doubt as to liability filing approach. So, what's the extent of the problem? As I talk about here, as is at the end of 2018, there were 14 million individual tax returns with a balance of over $128 billion. 2.3 million of the tax delinquencies were being investigated officially. And of those, there were 59,000 offer in compromise, or OICs, that I'm going to use as an abbreviation, submitted, with about 40% that were approved. So less than 50% of these are accepted, and there's several reasons why. So why are these offers being rejected? Well, it's not surprising. It's due to incomplete data. The IRS may return the data or set it aside to work on a completed application, one that they can move through the process. Or the taxpayer is not in compliance. There are tax returns that have not been filed, but I want to note that a current year tax return with a valid extension is considered to be in compliance. So there's my graphic with the two reasons. So, why does the OIC program exist at all? It's designed for the IRS to collect more money in less time using fewer staff hours. They can collect money from taxpayers who would otherwise never pay. Maybe they simply go off the grid. They receive payments from funds that can otherwise be tapped. Maybe the taxpayer goes out and gets a family loan. It's cheaper to use this process than trying to seize and sell taxpayer property, which is time consuming, and once the agreement is in place, the taxpayer must stay in compliance. So it's all about the IRS having very limited staff. They haven't gotten more funding in quite a while. The delays are getting worse, and they're looking to speed up collections and to collect as much as possible. But when you start this process, it's important to distinguish between two forms. The 656 lists the offer and the terms of the offer. The 433 is the time-consuming form. This is the collection information statement where you have to provide months of data on your revenue, your expenses if you're a business owner, your W-2 income, 1099 income, etc. That's the time-intensive part, is completing the form 433 and all that financial data. There are three types of OIC filings. I'm going to talk about one of them below. Doubt as to liability, effective tax administration, and doubt as to collectability. You'll see the second two discussed in later videos. And there's my graphic that explains the three. So doubt as to liability means that you dispute the amount of the debt. The taxpayer doesn't believe they owe the balance due, or that the amount owed is much smaller, and there's a few reasons why. Maybe the taxpayer got lousy representation by a third party during an audit. They didn't get proper documentation, they missed deadlines, and the taxpayer in this case must prove why the original assessment was wrong. Innocent or injured spouse may apply, where a spouse is just not well informed, is taken advantage of by the other spouse. Identity theft becoming more common, that it's simply the tax return that was assessed is not the taxpayer's tax return. The taxpayer didn't receive refunds generated by a fraudulent return, which used the taxpayer's social security number. And finally, a forged return. And in this case, it's important to realize that a spouse must file a new return using the married filing separately status if a forged return occurs. So a few other things you need to know. It has to be a genuine dispute as to the correct amount of tax debt owed under law. There can't be any final court decisions or judgments on this amount in this tax year. And it's only accepted for the tax periods in question. It's really, really important to clearly identify the tax years you're filing for. Some other details. If someone is helping you do this, which I highly recommend, you need to get the enrolled agent or the CPA to get power of attorney. You need to give that to them by signing this form, and if there's two spouses, each needs a separate POA. The spouses can use these forms jointly, and they can be used for personal and business tax returns. You just need to make sure, again, that you specify the years in the document. And you have to document also a long explanation as to why you doubt the amount owed in the supporting documentation. So keep these things in mind when you complete the form. State the amount you propose to pay on the form. If payments have been levied and you've had payments come out of your accounts, work with someone to file the 656L immediately to avoid missing the deadline for getting those payments back for attempting to recover payments. The current deadline for IRS is they have 24 months to make a decision, and if they don't, the offer is accepted automatically. So send in your offer in compromise with proof of delivery so you can start the clock running. You need that explanation of circumstance, why the IRS amount is not accurate. And finally, in some cases, a third party can help you. So notify the third party about the issue, provide contact info on the form, and give permission to allow IRS to contact that third party. A common example is maybe you were issued a 1099 with an incorrect dollar amount. The company hasn't caught the mistake yet, or if they did, the IRS hasn't processed it yet, and that payor, the person giving you the 1099, can explain it to the IRS. And the main reason for a rejection is there's documentation missing or it's not supplied in a timely manner. So where do you go from here? What are the steps? Find an enrolled agent or a CPA, discuss your offer and compromise options with a tax professional, and supply all the required documentation. Keep in mind also that Lambert's offers a tax resolution series where you can get lots of great continuing education if you are an enrolled agent or a CPA and you are working in this field. Lambert's has great video options that you can find out about at this web address. And if you're an enrolled agent and want continuing education, there is a ton of great Lambert's provided continuing education on the site. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.